You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
All writers are prone to becoming so attached to our characters and stories that we struggle to see why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing to full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, shaping stories into masterpieces that can stand the test of time. Editing services are provided for all genres and all age categories. Services range from critiques of the short story through to the line edits of the full-length novel and copy editing for those preparing for publication. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites, as well as help with those book blurbs and promotional material. We won't abandon you to the masses. We want to celebrate with you in your successes. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services and prices, visit us at blackwolfeditorial.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Good morning, America. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We're doing the Week in Review ending February 11, 2017, and we have a lot to talk about. We have IT congressional staff that have been fired after accessing terminals without consent. We have people we have females being videotaped in restrooms in the NBC Universal lot. Hey, I thought everybody was allowed to go to the same bathroom now. That and a lot more. Let's get it started right about now on America Off the Rails. All right, folks, again, this is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. I hope everybody's having a great weekend. If you're listening to us live, you're, of course, finding us on KLRNradio.com, where the show can be heard every Wednesday morning now at 9 Eastern. This is the Week in Review edition of the America Off the Rails show. Also available on CRNTalk.com, usually airing on Saturday nights. I think this one may actually air on Saturday and Sunday night. So you got about 3 chances to catch it. So if you catch us towards the end, you won't hear me talking about this right now, but hey, what can I say? So if you ever come in late, there's about 3 other chances to catch the show, and then, of course, it goes over to the other affiliates on Monday mornings, since I don't usually do a Friday show over there. They get the weekend show on Mondays. All right, so anyway, we have a lot to talk about. So there's been lots of things going on in the news. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has apparently stepped in it again. We'll have some information about that today. We also have some breaking news stories that have just been brought to my attention. We have some audio for those. But I just want to remind everybody that at this point, this is what I usually do to try to make sure that I do this at least once a show. I want to take a moment to thank everybody for taking the time to tune in, whether you listen to us on the home station, whether you listen to us on one of the affiliates, whether you listen to us on one of the plethora of podcast sources where this show is available. Just thank you for listening. Also, we have got some new sponsorship opportunities that have been afforded to us. You may notice some new ads that are playing in the beginning of the shows. Make sure you're interacting with those ads. If you hear anything that you like, make sure you're writing it down. If you happen to be listening on a device, sometimes it actually may even show a video ad. So if you like what you hear, make sure you click on it, because we can actually start getting paid to do this now in more than the ways that we have been before. So now we have multiple revenue streams all starting to push this stuff. So again, everything that we're doing right now and everything that we've started finally being able to do is because of the folks like you that have paid attention all along. Some of you have been donating. For those of you that have been doing that, thank you very much. If you'd like to continue to support us, yes, we are slowly moving away from listener-funded, but every little bit helps because we are still trying to get things moving. So if you'd like to support what we're doing here on KLRNradio.com, make sure you go to the website link. You'll see a donate button on the bottom left-hand corner of almost every single page. Make sure you click on that, follow the links on there, and every little bit helps. I don't care if you're giving up your coffee money for a day. Every little bit helps. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so as promised, we have a lot to talk about today. We're actually going to have to take a quick break here in just a few seconds, so I don't really want to kick anything off that's too heavy. But yeah, so I guess this is a good time for an I told you so moment. Everybody remember when they started talking about this, you know, people should be able to go to the bathrooms that they identify with their gender, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Gender is fluid, never mind the fact that there's chromosomes involved in this thing called science that the global warming folks like to throw in our face all the time. Well, yeah, bad things are happening because of that. That'll actually probably be the story that we kick off with right after we take this break. So stay tuned. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, back in about 60.
Before, innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
Bad host monkey bad. All right, so right now if you're listening to us live, you heard about 40 seconds of dead air. For those of you listening on the other affiliates, you're probably wondering what I'm talking about right now, because it will be fixed before it goes over there. But yeah, for those of you listening live, this is the joys of live radio, when Host Monkey realizes that he forgot to flip the proper switch before he started playing commercials. All right, so speaking of flipping switches, let's talk about this here news story that I have in front of me right now. This is from Variety, and it is... dateline, let's see, what was the dateline on this? February 10th, 2017. So this was yesterday, actually, at about 1:55 p.m. Pacific time. So about anywhere from 3:55 to 4:55, depending on where you are in the world, if you're anywhere central or eastern. A woman was secretly video recorded in the restroom on Wednesday by a male preschool teacher who was fired following the incident. The Los Angeles Police Department is investigating an invasion of privacy incident that occurred at a child daycare facility on the NBC Universal lot. According to the child care center, the adult woman was using the restroom when she noticed that she was being recorded by a cell phone left on the ground. The phone was later traced back to the male employee who was detained but not arrested by police after the victim notified her supervisor. Both the suspect and the victim are employed by Bright Horizons as a third-party provider of employer-sponsored childcare. The facility is used by NBC Universal employees and located on the Universal Studios lower lot. LAPD Detective Daniel Aguirre said Friday that no arrests have been made yet and that the Robbery Homicide Division is still conducting an active investigation into the accusations. Robbery Homicide is dealing with this? Parents of the daycare facility were quickly notified of the incident. As soon as the situation was brought to our attention, we reported it to the Los Angeles Police Department and will support them in any way we can while they investigate. Bridget Perry, Bright Horizons Family Solutions Senior Director of Communications, said in a statement, "The incident involved a teacher and a device that appeared to be recording an adult in an adult restroom. We have communicated directly with all of the families and our staff at the center, and the individual involved is not returning. Our families and our staff are our primary concern, and we will support them during this sensitive time. As always, we will keep staff and families of the center informed as we learn more. An NBC Universal spokesperson said first priority is the safety and care of our employees and their children. Okay, so I guess we don't really need to keep reading that because the important bits were in the first paragraph. So anybody remember these conversations when this stuff first started coming to light, that we were going to now start letting people that didn't have the right body parts go to bathrooms just because they wanted to feel like they identified with those particular folks? Now, I don't know if that was the instance here, but the simple fact of the matter is someone who was a man walked into a ladies' room, and either nobody noticed or they didn't say anything because they didn't think they could say anything anymore, and it turns out he was doing something that was kind of gross. I mean, I wonder how long that video camera was sitting there running on his phone. How many other women have possibly been recorded by this man in the same manner? All because we have decided to lead with the feels instead of using common sense. I mean, look, I get it. There are certain instances where people have had enough procedures where it's going to be hard for you to tell without lifting up and looking under the hood whether they are male or female. In that instance, they should go to the restroom that they most physically identify with. But the simple fact of the matter is, we have now made it to the point where child predators will have access to bathrooms that they wouldn't have legally had access to before. That is why this gentleman isn't currently under arrest. Because all he had to do was say, "Oh, gee, I really, I feel like I'm trapped in a man's body, and I'm so sorry. I was using the bathroom, and I guess my phone must have fallen out of my pocket and somehow magically landed face up and started recording people in the stall. I'm not sure how that happened. I promise it wasn't me. It was the phone's fault. Don't blame me. I should have been born a woman." That's what we're dealing with in today's society. We're also dealing with a society who seems to think that rules don't apply to pretty much anybody or anything anymore, because when they see rules being applied, they suddenly start freaking out. So, for those of you who've been living under a rock, we'll move to story number 2. Elizabeth Warren has been basically censured by the Senate because she broke a rule. Of course, what are these things called rules, and why should they matter? There is a rule in the Senate that specifically says that no senator shall use time on the floor to impugn or otherwise attack the reputation or person of another sitting senator while on the floor. And yet she did just that. We have some audio for that, so bear with me just a second. I thought I had that pulled up already, and apparently I do not. So I will keep prattling while I'm loading that up. So anyway, back to this whole Elizabeth Warren situation. So what's happened, and we'll actually get some audio here in a minute, is she actually read a statement written by Dr. Alveda King a long time ago, actually, but it was used in a way that wound up defaming the character. I believe it was Jeff Sessions. Give me just 1 second here. Apparently, okay, sorry guys, there's going to be a little bit of dead air while I'm trying to sort this out because... Oh, there we go. It wasn't loading for me. Here we go.
The Majority Leader.
The senators impugn the motives and conduct of our colleague from Alabama as warned by the chair. Senator Warren, quote, said Senator Sessions has used the awesome power of his office to chill the free exercise of the vote by black citizens. I call the senator to order under the provisions of Rule 19.
Mr. President.
The Senator from Massachusetts.
Mr. President, I am surprised that the words of Coretta Scott King are not suitable for debate in the United States Senate. I ask leave of the Senate to continue my remarks.
Is there objection?
Object.
I appeal the ruling.
Objection is heard. The senator will take her seat.
I appeal the ruling of the chair, and I suggest the absence of a quorum.
The clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Alexander.
And this is what it said.
All right, so there you have Senator McConnell actually calling into question the actions of Senator Warren while on the floor, and the fact that she actually did violate Rule 19. Now, of course, everyone's taking the Republicans to task for calling this out. They're saying that their authoritarian stripes are showing again. I've actually seen some liberal friends on Facebook that are completely having a meltdown. The simple fact of the matter is she didn't just stop with reading the speech. She took the speech in the statement in a completely different direction and then used it to attack a sitting senator. This is a problem. It would have been just as much a problem if it had happened with a Republican doing it to a Democrat. But we had plenty of chances for that to have happened, and it didn't. So, I mean, the thing about this is, and I want you to hear this from an actual senator, these aren't new rules.
These are the continuing rules of the Senate that have been in existence previous to this time and have carried over into this session. Is that correct?
I mean, the Republicans had ample time to violate that rule while they were the minority party, and they didn't. I mean, here's an example of that.
I happen to remember in 2004 when then Senator Kerry ran for president. Some pretty strong things were written and said about him. I was here for that vote when he was nominated and confirmed to be Secretary of State, and I don't recall a single statement being written into the record about the things that had been said about him.
Because they knew they couldn't. Because they're not supposed to. The thing about it is, folks, this is actually becoming kind of personal. And the interesting thing about it is when you talk about the leftist and the things that they agree with and they don't agree with, one of the things that they always talk about themselves or say about themselves is the fact that they are the ones that are the most tolerant of the two parties. Well, we have some interesting audio about that, and then we need to take another break.
Is that the liberal left that speaks and desires for all of us to be tolerant, do not want to be tolerant of anyone that disagrees with where they are coming from. So the definition of tolerance isn't that all Americans experience a high level of tolerance. It's that all Americans who agree with them experiences this so-called tolerance.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps. Stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Hardin. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Hardin to see and purchase his books.
All right, folks, welcome back. This is America Off the Rails, the weekend edition, or the week in review edition, or as I sometimes call it, the weekend edition. All right, folks, and again, this is America Off the Rails, the week in review edition, or as I sometimes call it, the weekend edition. You are listening to us live right now on KLRNradio.com, also available on CRNtalk.com, AMFM247.com, the Red Nation Rising Radio Liberty Channel, and a few others, including iHeartRadio, iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, FM Player, Google Play Music, Blueberry, and I know there's at least 2 or 3 others that I'm not remembering. Yes, no, I still have not spoken to John about getting me a little blurb put together so he can read them off instead of me. But anyway, so we went, well, actually we were a little bit long in the last segment, so we're going to have to take another break here in about 5 minutes. So we're going to extend the last segment a little bit and talk about this supposed tolerant, inclusive left and how they love to call themselves that and then behave just the opposite. Now, I'm not saying the right's not just as guilty of it, but that's the point, folks. The one thing that this election cycle has taught me is and it's something that I've known in my bones, but it was nothing that I ever really had any tangible proof of. Most of us spend our lives in the center. We are right of center in certain instances and left of center in others for certain people, but most of the time we just kind of want to hang out in the middle. This election has proven that to me because we have now the alt-left and the alt-right, or the extreme left and the extreme right, that are basically going to war with each other and leaving the rest of us running away screaming towards the middle. I actually have had more and more discussions with libertarians, liberals, conservatives, all in the same place, all talking about how we got into this mess. So as far as this whole inclusive scenario, the issue is the uber left, which are the ones that have the reins right now because everybody's freaked out and they're just listening to the loudest voices possible. And yes, folks, usually the craziest voices are the loudest. I will leave it up to you as to whether or not I might have been referring to myself there as well. But, well, I mean, let's be honest. I'm crazy. I understand this. All right, so anyway... The left, or the loudest folks on the left right now that are actually a minority, but they're loud enough that everybody thinks they're the majority, are anything but tolerant. As soon as you say something that they disagree with, they try to find a way to destroy you. Now, again, the right in some ways is just as bad about this, but at the same time, most of us, and for me it's been a growing pain and growing experience because I used to not be as big about free speech as I am now. It's been something that I have come to appreciate more over time because I used to be the first one to tell people to sit down and shut up when they said something that I didn't necessarily agree with. But that's not how this is supposed to work. Pardon me. We are actually supposed to be inclusive. We're actually supposed to give everybody the chance to have an opinion, the ability to say what they feel and say what they mean, and give everybody the opportunity to think about the statements and actions of others. Except, the issue is with the left lately, they don't want you to really do that. All they want you to do is listen to whatever they think is going to make you feel good, give you your warm fuzzy moment, give you some marching orders, and then send you off to war to fight for that fuzzy feeling that you have because of something that they said. One of the biggest instances of this will be something that we talk about when we come back from the break here in about that we're going to take here in about a minute or so. And that is the fact that there has been someone who has actually been set for deportation since 2013. She is a convicted felon who has been in the country illegally for 22 years and now is being deported because of the fact that she is a convicted felon, which actually precludes her from being able to get citizenship, because you can't get citizenship if you have a felony on your record. The Obama administration knew this. The Obama administration found her. The Obama administration then basically waited for her to self-deport, which she never did, because why would you? I mean, if you're basically told, yes, we know you're here, yes, we know you're here illegally, no, you shouldn't be here, and we would like you to take yourself back to where you came from, why would you do that when you have a really good life, and you've obviously managed to carve one out for yourself, even though you really shouldn't have been here in the first place? And let's be real here. We're not talking about somebody that swiped a candy bar from 7-Eleven. We're talking about somebody who was actually convicted of a felony in the case of identity theft, which means she did God knows what to someone else's life, turned it completely upside down, all for her own benefit, and we're supposed to feel sorry for this person because they want to stay in the country. And I don't know, I guess we kind of talked about this before the break, but it is about time for us to go ahead and take a break. So when we come back, still have lots more to talk about. Have some audio from a performer who, in my opinion, is finally saying what most performers should be saying in regards to whether or not performers should be making political statements during their events. And we have that audio when we come back from the break. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. Don't go away.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Harden. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at raharden.com. That's the World Wide Web at RAHARDIN.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Harden to see and purchase his books.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control over your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank account, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problems now by calling the experts at Tax Mediation Services and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. Tax Mediation Services is accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now for a free case review and a price protection guaranteed quote.
Call Tax Mediation Services now at 800-610-9050. That's 800-610-9050. 800-610-9050.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Having a place to go after school will make you a better student. Having an outlet to express yourself will make you a better artist. Having something to do together will make you a better family. At the Y, we're helping build better friends, listeners, writers, swimmers, scientists, and musicians, one chance at a time. Give the gift of opportunity. Support the Y at ymca.net. The Y, for a better us.
Folks, we're back. We're live. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. All right, so as you know, for anybody that's been listening for any length of time, what I don't like more than anything is someone who gets paid to entertain and act or sing that suddenly decides that they're going to start giving people their opinion on an event while they are at one of their events that people have paid money to see. So, and again, this is actually going to be a little bit of a snippet from The View. So for those of you that may need to take some anti-nausea medicine first, feel free. I'll give you about 10 seconds before I hit the button, so hopefully you've got some handy. But this is actually an attempt for Joy Behar, as usual, to try to get someone to say something political on their show. And actually, I'm not even going to tell you who this person is, because as soon as they start talking, most of you will know. And I think their response was priceless. But here is that particular clip.
Okay, rapper Drake is the latest celebrity to get political during a show. He went off on an anti-Trump rant during a concert in London the other night, and the crowd went wild. I don't know if he got in trouble for it. I think he did. Is that a good... Let me ask you, as a performer, you appear before large audiences. If you ever went on a political rant in the middle of your act, what would happen?
Could you imagine Reba being like, hand me the mic? You know, like, my fans would be shocked because... I take it this way.
Yeah.
They have paid their hard-earned money to come in there and fill a seat, you know, parking, getting something at the concession stand, go and eat before the concert. And I am there to entertain them, to take their worries away from them. So when they walk out, they can kind of have a little lilt in their step and just be go, oh, that was such a great break from all the problems that I have to deal with during daily life. So I am not going to give them my political views.
It also affects...
To which point the crowd, as you could hear, kind of really agreed with what she said there. And I think most of us feel that way. And that's why I was so pleased to finally hear an entertainer who, in my opinion, got it right. Look, I understand that we all have political beliefs. But here's the thing. To me, it's not that much different than with what all the liberals call separation of church and state. Which, by the way, is a fallacy. Yes, there was a letter written, I believe it was by Thomas Jefferson, that outlined how there should be a form of separation, but it wasn't meant in the way that it is being used today. But we'll save that topic for another show. In this particular instance, though, to me, it's kind of the same thing. If I'm going somewhere to watch someone either entertain me by singing a song, performing in a play, or acting in a movie, I want them to, especially if it's a movie, this is about them portraying a character. And what annoys me the most about some of this is you have all of these actors who have come out over the decades and made negative statements about guns, gun laws, gun control, etc. But half of these people run around waving guns on TV screens and movie screens all over the country and being paid millions and millions of dollars for it. If it is that abhorrent to you, then do me a favor. Stop taking movie roles that cause you to violate what are apparently your own principles. Otherwise, they don't really mean as much as you seem to think they do when you're not on camera. And that's, to me, the same thing with musicians. I mean, if I'm buying your music, if I'm taking the time out of my life to support something that you're doing, much like with you guys. That's why I always tell you thank you so much, because you have lives. You have things that are important to you, and yet you take time out of your busy schedules to spend some time with me. Some of you, when you can. Others have listened to every single show I've ever put on for as long as I've been on the air, and you know who you are, and I'm not going to mention any names. Mainly my wife. No, I'm just playing. Actually, my wife hated this when I first started it. But that's a story for another day, too. But, just the whole point of, if I'm giving you money to entertain me, I don't want to or need your political beliefs. I mean, at least when you tune into something like this, you can kind of tell from the title, hey, this dude's going to be talking politics, so I can either tune in or I can not tune in. At least I kind of know what I'm going to get. The interesting thing, I think, with me, though, is I do try to give you as much of a balanced perspective as I can find, and not very many people really do that anymore. I mean, yeah, I've been told that I'm extreme right-wing, and maybe I am. But at the same time, at least I'm trying to bring you what I think are the relevant stories of the day and talk to you in a way that I hope you can understand them a little bit better by the time the show's over. So again, just thank you to everybody who takes the time to tune in every day. And thank you, Reba McEntire, for standing up to Joy Behar, who actually in that clip went on to say, well, she was a comedian, so she gets paid to give her opinion, so she does it pretty much everywhere that she can and anywhere that she wants to. I don't know, I was kind of flashing back to Larry Hagman with the bubbles during that whole last exchange, which is why we actually didn't play it. The clip actually went for like 4 minutes. I'm like, dude, I only have like 6 minutes in that segment, so we're not going to burn up a whole other 3 minutes just listening to her prattle on. But, again, so I'm kind of digressing a little bit, but to me it matters. I talked about this with Dan last night on the Robinson and Rice show. One of the things that I always liked about Richard Dean Anderson when he was younger, he was diametrically opposed to guns. He didn't like them, didn't want to be anywhere around them, and of course this was early 20s, late 30s, through about probably mid-30s. He was diametrically opposed to them. So much so that a character on a TV show that he played on in the 80s, MacGyver, actually in the pilot was running around with a submachine gun. And that was the only time that Richard Dean Anderson ever held a gun during that TV series. And he found other ways to get things done, most notably the Swiss Army knife. And I always thought that was one thing that, again, I agree with. If you are so diametrically opposed to something, then practice it everywhere that you can. Don't tell me that guns are bad and then you run around waving a gun on a TV screen or a movie screen. But it's a prop, Rick. It's not the same thing, because the kids that are watching those TV shows and those movies, they don't see them as props. So you're helping to perpetuate the very thing that you say is terrible, and you're making money while doing it. So I'm sorry, but in my opinion, if you're going to start talking about gun control, you need to make sure that the work that you're doing doesn't involve you running around brandishing a gun. And on that note, it's time for another set of commercials. And then when we come back, we've already covered the whole bathroom gate situation, which is what I like to call it. Have been now for a while. Every once in a while when I can remember that I have a cute nickname for it. So I'm going to try to remember that one more, because it seems like it's coming up more and more in the news. Gender doesn't matter, only the feels matter until somebody's recording somebody in the bathroom. Then it's bad again. But we'll talk about another interesting incident with the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the Trump travel restrictions, and something that I bet you probably haven't really heard that much about in the news. All when we come back right here on America Off the Rails. We'll be back in about 2 minutes-ish.
Having a place to go after school will make you a better student. Having an outlet to express yourself will make you a better artist. Having something to do together will make you a better family. At the Y, we're helping build better friends, listeners, writers, swimmers, scientists, and musicians, one chance at a time. Give the gift of opportunity. Support the Y at ymca.net. The Y, for a better us.
Sometimes writers feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Welcome back to America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. We've been talking kind of all over the map today. We've been talking about celebrities and whether they should use their fame, and especially during their performances, to make political statements or do things contrary to their political statements, as a matter of fact. We've talked Elizabeth Warren, which is interesting because, you know, she's one of the only publicly elected officials I know that has been accused of assuming another race's identity to further her own cause, and yet somehow she's still a sitting senator. All kinds of other things going on in the news. Up next, Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. So for those of you who have been following along, President Trump actually instituted travel restrictions to 7 countries, mainly because they are what the State Department is now considering failed states. They have either helped harbor terrorism, they've had people there that have been involved in terrorism, or they may have people using those countries to pass through and then go to other places and inflict harm and conduct terrorist activities. So because of those things, we've actually tried to institute a travel ban. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals has spoken up about this travel ban now, first of all, I guess I got ahead of myself. The Attorney General of Washington State and the Attorney General of Minnesota actually filed briefs stating that they felt that the travel restrictions were unconstitutional. There was a lower court that upheld that decision, and they decided that, simply put, that the executive order banning travel and people from coming into the country from those 7 countries was unconstitutional. So, of course, the next step was to take it to the Federal Appeals Court, and the Federal Appellate Court for that particular area is the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. No, I didn't say that incorrectly. Just to say it incorrectly is what I call them, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, not the Ninth Circuit. But anyway, so they made a ruling that there was a 3-panel, basically a trio of judges that listened to the arguments, and some of the briefs that those judges responded with were kind of scary. They actually made statements of they weren't sure what the intent of the law was. It's not a judge's job to establish what the intent is. It's the judge's job to establish whether or not the law was legal. They also made statements of they felt that people that are trying to come to this country should have due process. No, actually, they shouldn't. Because that's not how this works. The statements that these people are making are absolutely amazing to me. Because simply put, they're saying that we need to extend our constitutional rights and grants beyond our own borders. That as soon as someone declares that they want to come to this country, they should have the same rights and privileges of every other American citizen. And that is not the truth. That there's nothing that could be further from the truth. Because even American citizens that travel abroad lose a lot of their constitutional protections while they're on those other countries' soil, because those countries are considered sovereign. They have the ability to make laws and rules to govern themselves, just like we do. And yet we have now the Ninth Circuit, or at least three panel judges of the Ninth Circuit, that have decided that the executive order made by President Trump was illegal. Now, at first, President Trump was talking about fighting it all the way to the Supreme Court. I think he's kind of backed off on that a little bit. It seems like he is maybe thinking about doing another executive order to fix some of the issues. I mean, my honest take on that executive order was he moved too quickly. I like what he did. I agree with what he did. But I think he moved too quickly, and I think he got slapped down a little bit because of it. Now, I'm not saying that he did anything wrong. I'm just saying that it needs to be refined and tweaked. Because let's face it, Obama did the same thing several times, restricted travel from Iraqis to America, and yet nobody said a word. All for much the same reasons. There were things that were going on in Iraq that we were aware of that were bad, and we wanted to make sure that people that were over there doing bad things weren't able to come over here and do bad things, which is basically what Trump's trying to do. Now, when we come back, I have some audio, but got about a minute, so we'll go ahead and keep the conversation going on this just a little bit more, only because there's so much that really needs to be talked about here. Like the fact that apparently the Ninth Circuit as a whole doesn't even necessarily agree with the decision of the three-panel group that made the decision. They've actually filed an en banc petition, which basically means they want to bring the ruling back in front of the entire Ninth Circuit panel. That's what en banc actually means, is full panel. So at least one judge on the Ninth Circuit obviously probably feels like they stepped in something, or why would they take the time to file that petition? So it's interesting that Donald Trump backpedals on taking it to the Supreme Court, thinks about rewriting writing another executive order to try to clean up some of the rough edges on the one that he tried to get done, and now at the same time, the Ninth Circuit's like, hey guys, wait a minute, I think we may have acted a little too harshly, too quickly. So maybe we need to bring this back and talk about it some more. So it'll be interesting to find out whether Trump does the new executive order or the Ninth Circuit does the full panel review, or both in the coming days and weeks. But I guess we shall see. All right, so we're up against another break, so I've got to take that break real quick. We'll be back in about 3 minutes. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson, and again, I have some audio that might put some of this in a better light when we come back, as far as why most of us think these travel restrictions aren't necessarily a bad idea.
But don't think when you wanna come cross the border. Take a look around and come test the water. We won't stop till we see the morning.
The following message contains a special offer for listeners of this station. Are you a man over 40? Are you constantly looking for the nearest bathroom? Do you wake up multiple times a night to use the bathroom? Right now, Perfect Prostate is sending out free bottles of their groundbreaking new formula to listeners of this station. Perfect Prostate Formula was developed by medical doctor Mitchell Fleischer, and its ingredients have been clinically studied to reduce your frequent nighttime bathroom visits and promote healthy urine flow. Right now, preferred customers get their first bottle of Perfect Prostate absolutely free. There's nothing to lose. Perfect Prostate is guaranteed to reduce that constant urge to use the bathroom, especially at night, and promote healthy urine flow. Don't wait. Call now for your free bottle. Just pay shipping and processing. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251. Supplies are limited. One free bottle per household. Call now. Dial 1-800-675-0251. That's 1-800-675-0251.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
Every day, the men and women of the United States Marine Corps stand ready to defend the American way of life. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Hey folks, I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Dr. Richard Hardin. We are on the same mission, which is waking up America. We just have different paths. So stay tuned for some information on how you can keep up with Richard and all his work.
Visit Richard's website at rahardin.com. That's the World Wide Web at rahardin.com. At his website, you can see a summary of the 6 books he has written, where purchases may be made. He also has a link to 18 videos on YouTube and several blogs about Christian beliefs. If you prefer, visit Amazon.com/Kindle and type in Richard Hardin to see and purchase his books.
All right, folks, welcome back. We're actually getting pretty close to the end of the show here. We've got about 4 minutes-ish. I want to make sure we get one last thing fed in that we've been talking about this travel ban and our travel restriction and why I honestly think it's not a terrible idea. And I have some audio that I don't think too many people are talking about that might help explain this. It is a bit of a long segment, but I'm going to let it run in its entirety. So here we go.
3 congressional information technology, IT employees have been fired for accessing members' computer networks without permission. Maria's on the show, knows more about this. Can you fill me in a bit?
Here are their names, Stuart. Let me tell you what the 3 people who were fired on Thursday. Abid, Imran, and Jamal Awan. They were barred from computer networks at the House of Representatives on Thursday because they accessed congressmen and congresspeople's computer networks unauthorized. At a minimum, they were fired. They haven't been arrested yet. At a minimum, we know that they accessed computers unauthorized, and they did so in foreign intelligence, foreign affairs, and intelligence committees. Okay, so they were getting very important information, government information. They accessed these computers. That is the least of it. There's also some talk that people are looking into what ties they have to terrorism. Are they impacted by the Muslim Brotherhood? Are they a part of the Muslim Brotherhood? One of them has a criminal background. A couple of questions here. How is it possible that 3 brothers are hired, Muslim brothers, just saying, to work in Congress and deal with our most intelligent and sensitive information, number one? They were all making $160,000. Why were they paid so much? 22 years old, one of the guys was. The other was 25. They're making $160,000, $161,000, and $165,000. And one of them has a criminal background. How does this happen?
I hear what you're saying. I mean, these intelligence committees handle our terror strategies, right?
They got information on Benghazi,
and
by the way.
And it looks like they also work for many Democrats in these houses.
Good God.
They are thinking that maybe they could be also one of the people, one of the reasons that Debbie Wasserman Schultz's account was hacked. Yeah. So there's so much more to come on this, Stu. This is an incredible story. I think it's amazing.
All right, so there you have it. 3 congressional IT staffers basically banned from accessing computers in the congressional halls because they were accessing information they weren't entitled to. And now we're wondering what kind of ties they may or may not have to terrorism and where that information was actually going to. And this all goes back to something that a lot of us have been saying all along. We do not know enough about these people that we have let flood into our borders over the last 8 years. We're not saying immigration needs to stop. We're saying that we need to put a pause on immigration, especially from hotspot areas around the world, until we can make sure that our policies and procedures for immigration are good enough to make sure that we're catching as many of these people as we can before they have the ability to cause us harm, or in this instance, do these things. which God knows where this information wound up. God knows what it was used for. We're talking about 3 very, very sensitive areas that these people were accessing information for. And that is a terrible thing, in my opinion. But it also reinforces the exact same thing that, albeit he said it poorly. I mean, that's the thing. Trump's not a politician. He's not a polished guy. He says what he thinks, and he thinks what he says, and it comes out. And sometimes it sounds gruff, and sometimes it is gruff. I mean, and he specifically said, we're talking about the security of our nation. I'll see you in court. Now, I'm paraphrasing that because that's not in the exact order that it was said, but you get what was meant. We're talking about our survival here. We're talking about letting people into this country that have told us that they want to kill us. All because we're supposed to do that. Where does it say that we're supposed to do that? Nowhere in our history have we just thrown open our borders and said, hey, come on in, folks. There have always been rules. There have always been restrictions. There have always been things that we've had to check, double check, and recheck before we let people come into this country. The fact that we suddenly have this idea that because we are the land of the free, home of the brave, or whatever you want to call us, that suddenly we're supposed to throw open our doors, let everybody in. All of these people that keep saying that, I'm gonna end the show. I think I ended it this way last week too, but I'm gonna end it with a question. For all of you that think that we should just throw open our borders, let anybody in here that wants to come in here, do you lock your doors when you leave? Do you lock your doors at night? Do you lock your doors of your car when you get out of it? Do you lock your doors of your car while you're in it and driving down the road? And why do you do those things? Is it because you know someone's is going to cause you harm, or is it because you are afraid they're going to cause you harm? That's my question, and I'm going to keep asking it until somebody gives me a plausible answer, because it doesn't make any sense to me. And actually, I heard one of the local guys on KTOK this past week ask the same question, which leads me to believe, or makes me wonder if he's not listening to my podcast. But anyway, we are out for the day, folks. We will be back with you starting again Monday night right here on KLRNradio.com. For those of you who missed it today, we're going to do some editing to kind of make up for the host monkey issues before I send it over to the affiliates. So it will probably run again Sunday. So if you've missed it now, no worries. And of course, it'll be on iHeart probably sometime Sunday, so you can always check it out over there. This is America Off the Rails. I'm your host, Rick Robinson. Until I see you, take care. God bless. And just remember, we finally got rid of Obama. Sorry, I had to do that. I haven't really done that yet. And I've been waiting 8 years to watch that man leave.